We are assembling our Make Waves quilt today. The Make Waves quilt is made up of these quarter circle square blocks and some patchwork squares that measure 6.5 by 6.5 inches. All of these separate pieces come together to make the whole quilt design of the Make Waves quilt. The quilt assembly instructions in your pattern are going to walk you through how to press so that all your seams will nest nicely and your rows will come together accurately. But today we're going to talk about just one aspect of that quilt assembly that might be a little bit different if you haven't done it before, and that is going to be spinning seams. So as we're putting our quilt together, we will have these sections of 4 blocks where our curves will meet in the middle, and we'll have this potential for a really bulky seam. So we are going to spin those seams because spinning seams will reduce the bulk in this center and in this whole seam across these 2 curves. So rather than pressing the entire seam in one direction and having one of them have to compete with this pressed out seam here, we are going to spin our seams. So we're going to press away from this seam and away from this seam, and then they will spin in the center, and we will press this seam intersection flat, and this will be it will have a lot less bulk when it's in your final quilt. So we're going to talk about how these sections are going to come together. In your pattern, as you've sewn, you've been directed which way to press your curved seams so that your blocks will nest when you get to the quilt assembly section. So these are set up to nest, so we're going to put these 2 right sides together, and we're going to sew these 2 sections. So these are those sewn sections, and we've pressed as directed in the pattern. And I do just want to note that if you are used to back stitching at the beginning and at the end of your block pairs, I would not back stitch at the top of the curves on these. That will make it easier when we spin our seams. Now that we've sewn and pressed these pieces as shown in the pattern, we're going to place the 2 block sections right sides together. I'm going to pin at that nesting seam, and then I'm going to go sew this. Now that we've sewn our 4 block sections together, we are going to press to set the seam. And then when we open up this section, we're going to press away from this curved seam that is already pressed out. And then the same on this side. And then you can see that that center seam is going to be ready to spin. And we'll just press that a little bit more. And then this is our 4 block section with spinning seams. And this will be a little bit flatter when it's in the quilt top than it would be otherwise.